this one coming into us from Mayor Bass on social media, saying that the National Weather Service Los Angeles has forecasted a strong storm, including showers and wind from Tuesday, December 23rd through Saturday, December 27th across the LA region, with the peak rainfall anticipated on Tuesday and Wednesday. Angelenos planning to travel to spend time with family and loved ones this holiday week should use caution on the roads, plan ahead, and stay informed. The city's Emergency Operations Center will activate today to coordinate preparedness measures related to the upcoming storm. Sign up for those emergency alerts, and she has a link that's on her social media page. So we'll continue to keep you updated if we get any press conferences as well from those Los Angeles officials as they are anticipating this storm. Let's slide away for a quick 2-minute commercial break. Stay right here with us. Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Want to continue on with our top stories that we're following. I want to show you this live vantage point that we have there of New York City. And we're going to be heading over to Jersey. As we're getting an update, we do know that there are several officials speaking out right now. I'm going to put that shot up on your screen. There are several representatives speaking out today after their visit to Delaney Hall for an oversight. This is the first time visiting the Newark Immigration Detention Facility since a dramatic showdown that happened back in May. Let's listen into this press conference here on Live Now from Fox.
No matter how many times we show up, they are going to continue to exploit a broken immigration system. That's what's happening inside there. Should enrage every American that we've allowed this administration to take advantage of a broken immigration system, and that's what they are doing for profit. Yeah. For profit. Yeah. It was described as a slaughterhouse in there by one of the detainees, because they know they will hit a dead end no matter what they try to do. Any right that they have, they try to exercise, they will hit a dead end. Lawyers, no lawyers. Resources, no resources. They continue to hit dead ends, because they do not want these people to have a chance at the American dream. That is what's happening inside there. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that it's happening here in the city of Newark, in the state of New Jersey. But with that, I want to hand it over to my incredible colleague, an absolute champion for her district, for the city of Newark, for the state of New Jersey, Congresswoman McIver.
Thank you so much, Rep. Menendez. First of all, I want to start off by sending my prayers and my thoughts and my sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Brutus, who lost his life here in less than 24 hours of entering this facility. I want to thank his family member, Evans Bellany, who was here earlier, who was going to be a part of this press release but had to leave, unfortunately, and to our Haitian elected officials who were here as well, representing for the community, our Haitian community here in New Jersey's 10th, but more so here in New Jersey in general. I think, number one, it's traumatic to be back here. I know many of you want to know, how does it feel being back at this location, the same place I was at back in May, where I was assaulted, where we were treated like crap, where we were disrespected? To be back here, it is very traumatic to be here personally. But at the same time, I have a responsibility to serve the people and protect the people of the 10th Congressional District. And that is why I had to put aside my traumatic experience here and come back here and represent for them to see what is happening inside of this awful detention center. The congressman already talked about some of the things that we heard from some of the detainees. Awful conditions, no food, no adequate food. Folks who have said that they would be voluntarily deported, but waiting for months to be voluntarily deported after signing paperwork to do so. Still not deported to their countries of origin. These are the things that we're hearing. People who have not had a court date in months, who are waiting. Loved ones cannot visit them because they're waiting hours and hours of time to visit them, not getting proper medical care. Literally, women not having access to OBGYN or female products in this facility. It is extremely awful, and that is why this detention center needs to be shut down. That's right. That's right. Bottom line. That's right. And we're going to continue to say that this facility should not be open with double the numbers of detainees in just a few weeks. They should not be open. And that is the reason why we're here. We're going to continue to show up here, continue to have oversight, and continue to do our jobs. This is not right. It is not right. When we left out of there, a detainee told us this is not the America that we dreamed of.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Back in their countries, they thought they would be able to come here and have a better life. That's right. They had been picked up at asylum hearings, at immigration court. Not getting picked up for committing a crime, being picked up for going through the proper process to be in this country legally. And they were picked up and have been incarcerated, held hostage in a cage in this facility, and it is not right. And we have got to call it out. We are better than this in this country. These are not people who committed crimes that our president, our lying president, continues to say. They are here on work visas. Some work visas not even expired, and they're in there on student visas, literally inside of a jail with approval from this country to be here. It is not right. And we have to call it out. That is our humane responsibility. And we have to do better, and we should be better, because this is not how we should treat human beings. That's right. And so we're going to continue to show up. I'm damn sure going to continue to show up to call out what is happening in this facility. It is wrong. And as Rob said, Congressman Menendez, excuse my informalness, it is about money. It is about money, and it is about cruelty. That is the two top priorities of this president and this administration: to get rich, to get their friends rich, to get their billionaire friends rich, and their family members rich, while being cruel at the same time. And if it meets those two criteria, well, President Trump and his administration, they're all in. And it's unacceptable. At this time, I want to welcome my colleague who came here, the chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus, my colleague from New York, Rep. Yvette Clarke.
Shut it down. Let me thank my colleagues, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver and Congressman Rob Menendez, for their steadfast leadership, their commitment to justice, and what we have just witnessed is an injustice. You know, I was searching my heart as I drove from Brooklyn to New Jersey this morning and thought about the fact that this is the holiday season, and for me as a Christian, you know, it's a high period of time where we think about the birth of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I thought about the fact that, you know, in his teaching, he asks us, to go and visit those who are incarcerated. And that kind of put me at ease in coming here because I had this anxiety about seeing a sea of humanity, close to 1,000 people in this facility right here, whose only desire was to add value to our nation. And it's so interesting that so many of the individuals in here had no criminal records. No criminal records at all. As a matter of fact, they were adhering to the rules as set forth by
they broke
the legislation of the House of Representatives of the Congress. They were showing up for their hearings. They had viable cases within the immigration courts, only to be kidnapped and trafficked across this country. These individuals, not all of them, have been only here at Delaney Hall.
Yeah.
Many of them have been circulating throughout the private prison system around this country and brought back. How could it be? Follow the money. Follow the money. These individuals could have been deported months ago, weeks ago. Yet, they're being trafficked right here in the United States of America. I want to express my condolences to Mr. Gene Wilson Brutus's family. His life was snuffed out right here in this facility. And we await the results of what ailed him, what got him to the point where he is now deceased, and so does his family. But this is something that should shock the conscience of all Americans. This is not what our nation has stood for throughout its close to 250-year history. And unfortunately, it is this generation, it is this America that has to confront the cruelty, the greed, and quite frankly, the wickedness that we are experiencing throughout this nation. Any death in the custody of the United States government is the responsibility of the United States government. We expect that there will be disclosure and transparency. And I want to make sure that the Brutus family are given the truth and nothing but the truth. There have been 4 reported deaths in ICE facilities in the past week alone, a record number since this administration took power. And it is an insult to call this incident isolated. When we spoke with the detainees, they talked to us about the stale food they're being given. They talked about the delay in life-saving medications that many of the detainees are not receiving. They talked about the fact that the request for seeing medical attention can take weeks. And how could that be if this is a detention center and these individuals are only supposed to be here temporarily? Well, this is what is taking place here in Delaney Hall. And no human being is deserving of the conditions that we witnessed in this facility. I was heartbroken to see the faces that look just like mine being overcome with fear for their lives and grief for the future that was taken from them. Delaney Hall and every facility that engages in this sick brand of inhumanity must be closed immediately. And a full and independent investigation needs to follow.
That's right.
I will continue to demand accountability and closely monitor the situation as we learn more. Our nation rises to its greatest heights when we are guided by our hearts, our compassion, and a moral obligation to our neighbors in need. What we witness behind these gates is depravity. It is the rotting of the soul of America. My home of New York City will remain a sanctuary to the oppressed and the powerless. Our doors will always be open to those seeking refuge and safety. But they will also always be closed to Donald Trump and his agents of hatred. So today is a month-long, a years-long march towards justice. We will not stop. We will not yield. We will not succumb to the wickedness, the cruelty, and the greed of this administration at the expense of not only their humanity, but our very own. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Chairwoman. At this time, we'll have remarks from Corporation Counsel Kenyatta Stewart on behalf of Mayor Baraka.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to send my condolences on behalf of Mayor Baraka and, of course, the entire city of Newark to the Brutus family and the Irvington community. We also want to thank our members of Congress here for your, fight nationally, and of course, for fighting for your right to have oversight of this place and all these other facilities alike. We're here today because a young man lost his life in Delaney Hall after being there for a year. And the folks from Delaney Hall will want us to believe that there were no wrongdoing. Now, we know it's wrong, the fact that he did not have an opportunity to spend the last moments with his family.
Yeah.
We also know it's wrong that he didn't have an opportunity to say goodbye to his son. And we also know it's wrong that his family is lost here requesting or asking or demanding answers. It's unfortunate that we're in a situation where Delaney Hall didn't even give us information about Mr. Brutus. You would think they would say that, he's a man from Irvington. They would say that he's a man with the son, and it would also say the basic information that you would get from a place like Essex County Jail was within feet of Delaney Hall.
Yep.
It's unfortunate that we're in a situation where the president continues to tell people that, ICE will only capture or go after or target people without criminal records or with criminal records. But, we know that's not true as well, because we've come to learn that most, if not the majority of people who've been detained in the last year have no criminal history and no history of violence. The sad part about it is that they're trying to use minimus allegations that Mr. Brutus was facing to
All right, as you see, they're listening in to those New York and New Jersey officials after their visit this morning to the Delaney Hall Immigration Facility in Newark, New Jersey. And so what you're really hearing them discuss here is a little bit more about the man who died in custody this morning, earlier this month, while they're in the ICE facility in Newark. And so he was just 41 years old. His name is John Wilson Brutus. His family has been speaking out, saying that he had no medical concerns before being taken into custody. He died, though, on December 12th after experiencing a medical emergency, according to ICE. And so we wanted to make sure that we brought you this update here on Live Now from Fox. This also had other elements included as well, putting this up on your screen from Notice. So you heard her speak a few moments ago, but Representative LaMonica McIver was speaking there, returning to Delaney Hall for the first time since being prosecuted. She is visiting the facility following the death of that detainee who died a day after he was taken into custody by ICE. So I wanted to make sure we brought this to you here on Live Now from Fox. We are going to slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour. Stay right here with us on Live Now from Fox.
And welcome back to Live Now from Fox Worldwide for you as we continue to bring you some of the latest live feeds and top stories. Right now, looking at the Dow, and it is up in the green, almost 100 points. So we'll continue to take a look at it throughout the trading day, all on Live Now from Fox, everyone. Hi, everyone. Mike Pace here. Thanks so much for joining us. So we are continuing to bring you those top stories in live feeds from all over the country. It's great to be with you. I'll be with you for the next several hours, bringing you some of this live content from all over the country. Let's go back out to New Jersey. Democrats speaking after visiting an ICE facility there. Let's listen in on Live Now from Fox.
Actively killing people again because there's a twisted marriage between an administration that is hell-bent on enacting a racist mass deportation agenda and one of the largest private prison corporations in the world who's just interested in lining their pockets for profit. It's time to shut Delaney Hall down.
Yes.
It's time to shut down every single facility like it.
Yeah.
We are on track to exceed the death record of 2005 for the number of people who've died in ICE custody. 20 years ago, never mind that we were here 200 days ago, 20 years ago, conditions have not improved. We're about to exceed that number. It's time to abolish this agency. It's time to shut down facilities like this. It's time to free every single person inside.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming. That concludes our press conference. We really appreciate you being here.
Right, everyone. We caught the tail end there of the event out in New Jersey. Democrats speaking. We brought it to you, though, from the beginning all the way until the end. We are going to continue to bring you some of these other top stories in live feeds that we have been really continuing to showcase across the country. I want to show you out live at LAX right now. The holiday rush, oh, it is on as people getting to where they need to go ahead of the Christmas holiday. And you can see from now and even a little bit tomorrow, of course, it is going to be
documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The references to President Trump and how the White House is responding. Breaking news. The mother of 9-year-old Melody Buzzard just taken into police custody more than 2 months since that child was last seen. We have an update on the investigation. Nightmare before Christmas. Winter weather on both coasts could cause problems on the roads and in the skies. NBC's Bill Cairns is timing it out. And the procrastinator's gift guide. We're breaking down the best last-minute presents you can buy for anyone on your list.
Hour in 26.
Number 2.
There are two parts here. There is price level, and then there's the inflation rate. And the price level just got out of control during the disastrous 4 years of Biden.
That is Scott Besson. Economic outlook for 26. New numbers and signs of dramatic fiscal awakening is clear. Also, pitfalls expected. What it means for all of us.
Number 1.
We have a massive armada formed, by far the biggest we've ever had in South America. He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. If he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
That was talking about Maduro, and that's the President of the United States. Showdown in Venezuela as Maduro exit seems imminent, hopefully before Christmas. They're taking tankers, shutting down the airspace. We look at the stakes, and we'll talk about Venezuela in a moment. Congresswoman Lee, welcome back. You with Judiciary and Energy, but just on the surface, are you content with the direction of the pressure we're putting on Maduro?
I am. I think one of the things that President Trump has done that is so important is really reestablished the U.S. as a leader on the world stage and has built respect from other world leaders. And the point here is that if we impose sanctions and don't enforce them, then they end up being totally meaningless. And I think the president and Secretary Hegseth are ensuring that those sanctions do what they were intended to do, that we enforce them, and that will lead to deterrence down the road from countries that are problems, dangers around the world. In the case of Venezuela, we know all kinds of challenges, beginning with the importation of illegal drugs and continuing to their defiance of these kinds of sanctions.
What's pretty amazing is that they're able to, for decades now, just to stay in power. Hugo Chavez to Maduro, corrupt election after corrupt election. In comes China, in comes Russia, in comes Iran, in comes Hezbollah, and they're just flourishing there. I did not know that 80% of their oil is sold to China at a discount, some through these Gulf tankers. And then former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says it's not just about Venezuela. Listen, cut 7.
The Cubans continue to guard Maduro. That's been a longstanding practice. We shouldn't forget Cuba. The economy in Cuba also is very brittle. And so the combination of tool sets, right? At sea, we could close the airspace over Venezuela, make it very difficult for anybody to get in or out with anything. Those are the kind of things that take all the foreign exchange dollars away from Maduro, which is what's been propping him and the Cubans up for so many years.
So that does, I mean, in Florida especially, Congresswoman, Cuba matters.
Absolutely. We have an extraordinary community of Cuban exiles that live here in Florida who, many of whom still have family that lives back on Cuba and to really have suffered at the hands of the regime. This is very important for many Floridians, not just as it relates to Venezuela, but as you point out, this destabilizing force that is affecting the entire world with these alliances and their defiance of sanctions that have been imposed.
So there's a poll done, and there's overwhelming support, and a supermajority of President Trump's voters nationally and in key congressional districts support reforming supervision. 80% overall. You guys introduced the Safer Supervision Act, received overwhelming support, as I mentioned. So your thoughts about how this gets implemented, and that's just putting from oversight into every activity, right?
Right. So supervised release was designed to basically be oversight for individuals who are leaving federal prison, coming back to our communities, which is the vast majority of people who get incarcerated do come back. And it was designed to both promote community safety and also to help these folks reintegrate in a way that is safe and that is accountable. And what this legislation would do is make sure that we're making individualized assessments, that judges are really looking at what was the underlying offense? Is this person a danger? How should supervised release be imposed? How should it be conducted? And really using it on the cases that need that kind of oversight for people who actually are posing a danger. We have seen what happens when criminal justice policies that are not data-driven, that are not common sense, are implemented. It can be absolutely disastrous. So what this bill does is really the opposite. It takes us to a place where we need to think about how we're using this tool, and the goals here of community safety and actually supporting that reintegration are very much aligned. When we keep people accountable, when we create incentives, that actually makes our communities safer.
Right. I mean, no one wants the prisons just to be overflowing and warehousing people, but just letting them out the way New York is doing it, Florida doesn't, and Los Angeles is not keeping anybody safe.
Exactly. And we've seen those tragic consequences. So one of the things that we want to do is ensure that our federal probation officers are devoting their time and their energy to those people who actually do pose a risk of reoffending, or those cases that really could pose a significant impact on community safety, rather than just being, in every case the same and checking boxes. This would really get back to what is the point of the supervised release and be a great help. And it is supported by all groups that intersect in this in real life. So everyone from federal law enforcement, federal probation officers, all the way over to the Prison Fellowship. A lot of the really great groups that work on criminal justice policy, like the Reform Alliance, the America First Policy Institute, all of these groups have come together to support this idea because they've seen this in practice and know that this would be a great improvement.
So we know there's a lot at stake this year in the midterm elections, and history says only 3 times in 100 years has a president held on to majorities in both houses on the midterm election. Was Clinton It was Bush 43 in his first term, and it was FDR in one of his terms. Here's Speaker Johnson speaking about what's at stake. Cut 25.
This is not your father's Democrat Party anymore, and they want to dismantle the very foundations of our republic and everything that we all stand for and that Charlie Kirk evangelized. Everything, as has been said here, everything is on the line in the midterms of 2026, and we have much more to do. But if we lose the House majority, the radical left, as you've already heard, is going to impeach President Trump.
You agree? Don't we have impeachment fatigue? Don't they sense that?
Well, I think the speaker is unfortunately is absolutely right there. We've already seen efforts just in the last few months of baseless impeachment allegations against not only President Trump but also members of his cabinet. So I do expect that is what is at stake. That if Republicans lose the majority in the House, that we will spend the subsequent 2 years chasing after and fighting back against these baseless impeachment allegations. And look, as a former judge, I think it's so important that that tool is used when there is a legitimate basis in law that follows, only those circumstances where it is called for, not as a political tool. So I do think that's what's at stake, and that should be a real motivator for Republican voters to come out on Election Day.
Yeah, just also, if I'm a Democrat, I would say stop the obsession with Trump. Like it or not, he's going to be gone in 3 years. And all you're going to say is, I never liked him. That's not much to run on, it doesn't seem. Congresswoman Laurel Lee, have a fantastic Christmas. Thanks so much for your time.
Great to see you again, Brian.
All right, back in a moment. So Frank Bisignano is in studio. He's the 18th Commissioner of the Social Security Administration. But that's not enough for him. He also is the CEO of the IRS, managing both agencies at the same time and doing exceedingly well. And Frank, you never seem rushed. You never seem stressed. Now that you've, I guess, got appointed in May, here we are in December. What has it been like?
Oh, it's just been kind of a really, really great experience. The leadership of President